is up, guys? Ryan Weber here again with another episode of this, whatever it is that we're saying this podcast thing is. Today we're going to talk about starting out. So if you're just starting out with creating content or focusing on content as one of your strategies, your marketing strategies for your business, which I personally think is the number one marketing strategy you should be doing, we're going to talk about that. What are some things that you should be focusing on, and where are some things that you're probably going to make a mistake? And I'm getting this with a lot of my newer clients where they're getting started, and I mean, I get it, man. Like, you're excited. You're super, super fired up to start doing something. You've got this idea, you're fired up about it, and you want to do everything. And this is a problem. And the reason that this is a problem is because you can't do everything. You can't be the best at everything. And where everyone's getting this advice from is Gary Vee. Now, I like Gary Vee. However, he's done something that I'm not a huge fan of, and he's telling people to put out so much information that it's not good quality. And it's also making people go crazy, because what happens is the whole paralysis by analysis. And so they want to do this, they want to do that, and they start thinking about this and then that and then that and then that. And then honestly, you just don't do anything. And that's a huge issue that I see. And that's where I kind of want to talk to you about getting started, what's actually successful, not in Gary Vee world, in the real world, where you're a solopreneur or you have a teeny tiny team or no budget at all. How can you get started successfully with your brand and your business? Well, the best way to do this is to focus on going deep rather than wide. And so what's that mean? What that means is that you are going to niche down and then niche down again and then niche down again. So you want to try and focus on such a small segment and own one thing before you start focusing on 35 different things. Once you get big enough and you can afford having a content team producing a bunch of content for you, yeah, go for it. Like, do TikTok, do Pinterest. I don't care. But when you're getting started out, focus on one or two things and do them really, really well. And so I guess the premise of this is, for an example, if you're getting started with your brand, rather than trying to do a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, pick your two platforms. And I'm from the last episode, macro and micro platforms. Pick one macro and one micro platform and own them. And then also, when it comes to what it is that you're speaking about, pick one thing and own that. Like, be the best at just one little thing. People have made millions and millions of dollars at being the best at one super specific thing. So rather than doing, a little, let's use real estate for an example. I've got a lot of realtors that are probably listening. If you're a realtor and you're getting started on creating content, focus what your content's going to be about. Who are you speaking to? You're not speaking to both buyers and sellers. It's impossible. They have completely different deciding factors as why they're going to use a realtor. You're not speaking to both of them. Don't create content for both buyers and sellers. Because what are you? Are you a buyer's agent? Are you a seller's agent? I'll tell you what right now. If you create only content for sellers, you are still going to have buyers contacting you wanting to use you. So don't worry. You're not going to just, I'm only creating content for sellers and now no buyer's ever going to contact me. That is not true. They're going to contact you. Trust me. So get very, very specific with the content that you are creating. If you're going to speak to or we'll go with sellers. If you're going to speak to sellers, now what type of sellers? Your sellers are going to be in maybe just one geographic location. So I'm going to focus on maybe the sellers, rather than in a whole city, why don't we do a whole community? So rather than all of Charlotte, what if you did all of Ballantyne or all of Dilworth. And if you want to get even more specific, you can say all of just one neighborhood. I'll tell you what, if you are a realtor and you only focus on marketing and owning, and when I say owning, I mean like owning just one neighborhood, a good neighborhood, neighborhood, $500,000 houses. You'll see a good movement on them. Maybe 30 or 40 of them are listed a year. Think about that. You sell 30 houses at $500,000 only in one neighborhood. That's all you got to worry about. I think you're doing just fine. That's $15 million in transactions. I don't know what that number is as far as what the average 2.5% or so on your commission is, but you're doing just fine. So if you can own one thing, so then I would look into, based on that community that I want to own, what is that person? They're selling $500,000 houses. Is that $500,000 house a step up for them? They're moving up. So, maybe their family's growing and they have to get larger houses. So these are smaller, more renovated houses. So who is that person that's moving up? So what's the content that they're looking for that you should be creating? And what platform are they going to be on? What platform do they consume their content? And so the more specific and narrow you can get, the more you're going to know about your target market, the better your content's going to be, and the more you're going to get out of creating that content. As soon as you start going all over the place and saying, well, I appreciate that neighborhood, but I also want to get this neighborhood over here who's $200,000 houses. Well, those people are completely different. And now you're going to start confusing people. And they're going to look at your content and say, well, who is this guy? Is he the buyer's agent? Is he the seller agent? Does he do high-end houses, low-end houses? I don't know. And so you're going to get nobody. So get very specific. Let people know exactly who it is that you're trying to reach, especially with your content. For me, I talk to business owners, and predominantly business owners in the service-based industry. And then also business owners that are generally in the $500,000 and under with my content. That's generally the business owner that I'm talking to, because these are solo people. They don't have a team. If they do, awesome. They're probably sending their team or their marketing person to listen to this content to give them some ideas. So I know exactly who I'm talking to, because these are the issues my clients have. So when you're creating your content, just think about, how specific can I get? It's not about being on every single platform, because you're going to go crazy. Be patient. Get really, really good at just one thing and own it. Crush it. Be the man or woman at whatever it is that you do. You don't have to be the best at Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and podcasting and blog posting. If you get there, great. But when you're just starting out, you don't need all that. Get really, really good at one specific thing. If you want to be a video person, make the best videos you can possibly make every single time. Make them interesting. Make them entertaining. Make them engaging. Know exactly what types of videos you're making every single time. Know exactly who it is that you're speaking to in your video every single time. Know exactly where you're going to be posting those videos on the platform every single time. And when you can do that, and when you own that, then you can add in one new thing. Okay, now I'm also going to do a podcast. But I'm telling you guys, you don't have to be on all these different platforms like a Gary Vee says. You can be on just one platform and own it in your niche and do very, very well for yourself. And you're going to save yourself a lot of time. You're going to save yourself a lot of headache, and you're going to save your clients and referral partners a lot of confusion. You're going to be getting much better clients because they're going to know you are the person for them, because that's the only person you've been speaking to. So I hope this was helpful, especially for my new aspiring people. You know, I like to keep it generally a little more lighthearted. I'm pretty laid back, but you know, this is something that really bothers me. You know, it's like, you don't need to be on everything. You don't have to be on all these 75 different platforms. Just get really, really good at one thing. Once again, guys, hope it was helpful. If you like this, like it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications, give me a rating if you're on podcast platforms, and I'll see you guys in the next video.